But what would happen if, all of a sudden, oxygen ceased to exist? We're not talking about air pollution or a lack of breathable air, but the complete absence of this essential element for life. Science warns us the impact would be so quick and devastating that we wouldn't even have time to comprehend what's happening. Without oxygen, fires would vanish like magic, planes would fall from the sky, and even water, something seemingly indestructible, would disintegrate. Can you imagine the chaos that would unfold? But there's more. How would we deal with a world where everything we know ceases to function in a matter of seconds? This isn't just a curious hypothesis, it's an invitation to reflect on our extreme dependency on this vital element. Let's dive into the details of this scenario and uncover the surprising consequences of a world without oxygen. The absence of oxygen turns everyday life into an unimaginable scenario. Picture trying to have a conversation and suddenly being unable to take a breath. Without oxygen, humans and animals lose the ability to breathe within seconds. When oxygen disappears, the blood can no longer transport what's needed to the brain and other vital organs. This lack of a crucial element leads to rapid physical collapse. Think about how we gasp for air after intense effort. Now imagine that feeling taken to an extreme. This alarming scenario opens the door to deep reflections about the importance of oxygen in our lives. Without it, the complexity of human existence dissolves instantly. And if we consider how this affects not just individual health, but also society as a whole. Without oxygen, fire would simply vanish. Imagine watching a blazing forest extinguish in an instant, or that cozy fireplace in your home no longer existing. The absence of oxygen eliminates combustion, rendering all fires harmless in the blink of an eye. Moreover, vehicles and airplanes that rely on fuel combustion would cease to function. Think about the cars you drive every day or the planes that fill the skies. Without oxygen, none of it would be possible. This sudden halt would drastically reduce fire-related risks, but would also disrupt many aspects of modern transportation. Beyond medical equipment, many industries rely on oxygen for daily operations. Processes like welding and construction, glass manufacturing, and chemical production directly depend on oxygen. Without it, these activities would abruptly stop, halting production and severely impacting the global economy. This massive disruption highlights how dependent we are on oxygen, not only for survival, but also for the efficient functioning of essential infrastructure. Reflecting on this leads us to consider how the lack of this vital element would affect not only health and industry, but also other fundamental aspects of our society. The absence of oxygen would place modern aviation in a critical situation. Imagine a plane attempting to take off without proper engine combustion. It simply wouldn't happen. Without oxygen, combustion engines would stop working, making flights impossible and drastically altering global mobility. Additionally, flight safety would be seriously compromised. Without oxygen, planes already in the air would face elevated risks of accidents, as the lack of proper fuel would prevent effective emergency maneuvers. Think about how pilots would rely on life support systems to stay conscious and control the aircraft in critical situations. This disruption in aviation would affect not just passenger transport, but also global commerce and rescue operations. Companies dependent on air transportation for rapid delivery of goods would see their supply chains collapse. Speaking of challenges, the next topic explores how the absence of oxygen would transform our water resources. Without oxygen, our water resources would undergo a drastic transformation. Imagine rivers and lakes disappearing before your very eyes. Without oxygen, water would rapidly convert into hydrogen vapor, escaping into space and leaving Earth increasingly barren. This evaporation process wouldn't just eliminate essential sources of drinking water, but would also devastate entire ecosystems. Think about the plants and animals that rely on water to survive. Without it, life as we know it would cease to exist. Additionally, agriculture would face massive collapses, compromising food production and global food security. As water vanishes, Earth would transform into an inhospitable desert. The lack of moisture in the air would drastically alter the climate, making it extremely dry and hostile. This change wouldn't only affect biodiversity, but also how we live and interact with the environment. Given all this, can you imagine how dependent we are on something we can't even see? Without oxygen, our existence would be challenged on every level, from biological to industrial. Have you ever considered how even the smallest actions, like lighting a candle or drinking a glass of water, would become impossible? Now the question is, if something so essential could disappear in an extreme scenario, what are we doing today to protect the world that provides it? Are we truly valuing what nature offers us for free? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed learning about such a fascinating topic, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and hit the notification bell. That way, you won't miss any of our content that makes you question, reflect, and learn. See you in the next video.